If you own a house anywhere in Seattle right now, from Ballard to Beacon Hill to the Rainier Valley, you're sitting on something most homeowners completely ignore: extra buildable land right in your own backyard. And in 2026, the city is making it easier than ever to turn that space into a legal, rentable, six-figure asset. But here's the catch nobody tells you. Pick the wrong cottage design for our climate, our lots, or our code, and you can burn through $50,000 before a single wall goes up. Stick around, because at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the one cottage layout that Seattle homeowners keep coming back to in 2026, the design that our permitting offices approve the fastest and that renters fight over. But we're covering 4 other designs first, and the mistaken design 3 is the one that trips up almost every first-time builder in the city. Before we get into it, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. We put out a new tiny home and backyard cottage breakdown every single week, all backed by real 2026 numbers, real permitting offices, and real builders, never sponsored, never inflated. If that sounds like your kind of channel, you're in the right place. Now let's get into it. Before we look at a single floor plan, you need to understand the 3 forces shaping cottage design here in 2026, because they are not the same forces shaping tiny homes in Texas or Arizona. Force 1 is the sky. Seattle gets roughly 150 days of measurable rain a year, and that changes everything about roofline, drainage, and window placement. A flat roof that looks incredible in a Los Angeles renovation video will fight you every single winter here if it is not engineered specifically for our rain load. Force 2 is the code. Detached accessory dwelling units, or DADUs, are legal on almost every residential lot in Seattle. That is the official term for what you probably know as a backyard cottage. Under Seattle's updated 2026 code, brought in through ordinances 127211 and 127219 to comply with Washington's House Bill 1337, you can build up to 1,000 square feet of living space. And that limit no longer scales down based on your main house's size. Height limits have also gone way up, now reaching as high as 32 feet in most neighborhood residential zones, which makes a full 2-story cottage or a garage-top unit far easier to build without needing a special variance. Setbacks generally still require your cottage to sit behind your main house or at least 20 feet back from your front property line. And here is the part most homeowners do not know. Seattle eliminated off-street parking requirements for DADUs entirely citywide, so you do not need to set aside a parking spot no matter where your lot sits. And here's a bonus most channels skip entirely. On larger lots, Seattle's code allows up to 2 accessory dwelling units in addition to your main home, and both of those can be detached cottages. If you have the room, that means 2 separate rental structures on one property, not just one. Force 3 is state pressure. Washington passed House Bill 1337, which forces every city planning under the Growth Management Act, including Seattle, to keep loosening ADU restrictions rather than tightening them. Seattle has been actively revising its code through 2026 to comply. Translation: if you're on the fence about building a cottage, the rules are trending in your favor, not against you. Keep all 3 of those forces in mind, because every design choice from here forward exists because of them. The first style dominating Seattle backyards in 2026 is the Scandi Modern cottage. Picture a clean rectangular footprint, black or dark charcoal metal siding, a single shed-style roofline slope hard in one direction, and oversized windows that stretch nearly floor to ceiling on at least one wall. This design exists for a reason beyond looks. Seattle has some of the darkest, grayest winters in the continental United States, and a home that lets in maximum daylight through tall glazing genuinely changes how livable a 500 square foot space feels in January. Builders working in neighborhoods like Ballard and Fremont report that this style also photographs exceptionally well for short-term rental listings, which matters if rental income is part of your plan. The trade-off: that shed roof needs to be engineered correctly for our rain volume, with oversized gutters and a steep enough pitch that water actually sheds instead of pooling. Cut corners here, and you're looking at ice dams and leak problems within a few winters. The second design is almost the opposite philosophy, and it is the most common style built across Seattle's older neighborhoods like Wallingford, Green Lake, and Beacon Hill. This is the Pacific Northwest Craftsman Cottage. Steep pitched roof, cedar or fiber cement lap siding, a small covered front porch, and trim details that echo the Craftsman bungalows already sitting on the main lot. The pitched roof here is not just aesthetic, it is functional. A steeper pitch sheds our heavy winter rain more reliably than a shed roof, and tends to need less specialized engineering, which can shave real money off your structural costs. The covered porch adds a genuinely usable outdoor space 9 months out of the year in a climate where a bare patio sits unused for half the year. This design also tends to sail through Seattle's design review faster because it visually matches the existing housing stock, and reviewers are far less likely to flag concerns about neighborhood character. The third design is where Seattle homeowners with narrow or oddly shaped lots are landing in 2026, and it is also where the single biggest mistake in this entire video happens. This is the Courtyard Studio Cottage, a compact one-room layout, often 450 to 600 square feet, built around a sliding glass wall that opens onto a small private courtyard or patio carved out of the backyard. Because Seattle setback rules generally push your cottage toward the back of the lot, homeowners with tight side yards are using this layout to essentially wrap outdoor living space around the structure instead of beside it. It works beautifully on lots as narrow as 25 feet. Here is the mistake. Homeowners see a slick basement conversion or in-law suite online and assume that finishing an existing space with a kitchenette and a separate entrance automatically makes it a legal rental unit. It does not. In Seattle, an attached unit only counts as a legal ADU once it is permitted specifically as an accessory dwelling unit. And if you plan to rent it out, the unit also has to be registered under the city's rental registration and inspection ordinance before anyone can legally move in. Skip that step and you are exposed to code enforcement, and it can even block you from removing a problem tenant later, even with a legitimate legal reason. If a courtyard cottage or any attached unit is part of your plan, permitting it correctly from day one is not optional paperwork. It is the difference between an asset and a liability. The fourth design has been picking up momentum through 2026 among homeowners who want their cottage to double as a statement piece. This is the board and batten cottage with a green or living roof. Vertical wood siding, often stained a deep forest green or warm walnut tone, paired with a planted roof system. With height allowances now reaching up to 32 feet in most neighborhood residential zones, a planted roof system's extra thickness fits comfortably without needing a special exception. Beyond that breathing room, a living roof adds real insulation value against our wet winters and dramatically reduces stormwater runoff, which some Seattle neighborhoods are increasingly sensitive to given the city's aging drainage infrastructure. The trade-off here is upfront cost and long-term maintenance. A living roof is a specialized system, not something a general contractor without that specific experience should be improvising on your dime. Let's talk real numbers, because this is where a lot of channels either go quiet or make things up, and we're not doing that here. Across Seattle in 2026, all-in construction costs for a detached cottage typically run between $400 and $650 per square foot. For a standard 600 to 800 square foot cottage, most homeowners are landing somewhere between $350,000 and $600,000 total. Once you include design, permitting, site work, utility hookups, and finishes. Smaller cottages under 500 square feet often cost more per square foot, not less, because fixed costs like a new sewer connection and a permit set don't shrink just because the building does. Permitting and city fees alone typically run $20,000 to $40,000, covering plan review, inspections, and utility capacity charges. Current standard review timelines through Seattle's Department of Construction and Inspections are running 8 to 14 weeks, though using one of the city's pre-approved cottage plans can meaningfully shorten that timeline and even shave a bit off the permit fee itself. On the return side, a well-built, well-located cottage in Seattle is renting in the range of $2,400 to $3,900 a month, depending on neighborhood and finish level. And as of 2025, the rules changed again in a big way. Detached cottages can now be subdivided and sold separately from the main house with their own title. In premium neighborhoods, standalone cottages have already sold in the $700,000 to $800,000 range as independent properties. So which one actually wins in 2026? If I had to point you toward a single starting point, it is a hybrid of Design 2 and Design 4, a pitched roof Pacific Northwest cottage with cedar or board and batten siding, a small covered entry, and a partial green roof section over the main living area. Here's why it keeps winning. The pitched roof sheds our rain without the extra engineering cost of a shed design. The covered entry gives you genuinely usable outdoor space through our long gray season. The partial green roof earns you that extra 2 feet of legal height without the full cost and complexity of covering the entire roof. And critically, this style visually blends into existing craftsman-heavy neighborhoods, which Seattle's own permitting data shows moves through design review with fewer objections and fewer delays than anything that reads as visually jarring against the main house. It is not the flashiest design on this list. It is the one that gets approved, gets built on budget, and gets rented or sold without a fight. That's the real 2026 picture for tiny cottage design here in Seattle. The styles, the code, the costs, and the one mistake that costs first-time builders the most money. If this helped you get a clearer picture of what's possible on your own lot, hit like on this video and subscribe so you don't miss next week's breakdown, where we're digging into the exact permit timeline step by step, so you know what to expect before you ever call a contractor. Drop a comment and tell me which of these 4 designs fits your lot best. I read every single one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.